Hello, everybody. Welcome to another discussion on distance education, leadership, and AI. And today it's all about obstacles in the implementation of AI in distance education. Let's begin. Now, I know you've already seen, hopefully, the other videos of my classmates talking about AI and its great contributions and sometimes also their negative effects. We're not going to talk about here. I'm going to assume you already know its potential in distance education. Now, yes, we can actually maximize AI in our distance classes, but it's not as easy as it is, because there are different obstacles that we need to consider. And these obstacles should be important for all the e-learners so that they can manage around it. I've looked into the different literature for the past 3 years, and I was able to come up with these 10 obstacles that the distance education learners should know and leaders should know in implementing AI in distance education. Let's begin. The first obstacle is very obvious. It's infrastructure and digital divide. Now, even before AI, with just plain technology like computers, internet, it's already very difficult for everyone in the world to access that. According to Soliman 2024, there are still many institutions, especially in rural areas, like the ones in the Philippines, that have poor internet access, and lack of affordable devices for students and teachers and all the stakeholders involved in teaching and learning processes. So how much more if we involve AI here? It would be difficult already, even with technology in itself. The next one is obviously high cost and limited resources. According to Van Cappel 2023, AI is not that cheap. I mean, quality AI is not that cheap. There's AI tools and maintenance which are super expensive, and schools with low income areas, especially like DE schools that don't really rely a lot, a lot on income generating funds, cannot really afford the implementation of it. I myself pay for 1,500 pesos every year, like 1,200 every year for GPT Plus, which I use in my work every day, and that's not cheap. The next one is lack of training and readiness. Now, according to Sergi et al. 2024, teachers lack AI skills and integration strategies. Now, I agree because from experience, technology in itself needs a systematic study and a lot of theories to learn before we actually can successfully integrate it. AI in itself is a different monster. I think people or teachers need to learn its nature and how to use it before actually integrating it so that we can maximize its effect, its good effect, in the most efficient way. Because I think there's a need for continuous upskilling as AI keeps on evolving as well. This next one is might not be like true to all. It's limited student digital literacy. It's an obstacle for students who struggle with basic digital tasks, and that in itself is a struggle for technological integration. But that could also be an obstacle for AI integration because it limits independent learning with AI platforms. This next obstacle is such a hot topic. Yes, data privacy and security concern is another issue, an obstacle for implementation of AI. According to Sergi et al., there are so many risks of student data breaches, and schools can sometimes lack strong cybersecurity systems. We can't really know which AI to trust. Teachers and institutions and educational leaders have to consider this particular safeguard, cybersecurity safeguard, before implementing AI. So this in itself is an obstacle, obviously. This next one is algorithmic bias and lack of contextual fit. According to UNESCO 2023, AI models often favor Western content and there are poor adaptation to local languages and cultures. Well, if you use OpenAI, for example, like ChatGPT, it usually favors the Western content, really. Although there are times it can give you some output that gives in the language of let's say, a local language like Cebuano, but it doesn't really capture this nuance of its culture and then the way the dialect or the way the language is being used. And yeah, I guess that's something that needs to be considered and improved more. And this one is a very touchy obstacles, cultural resistance and trust issue. There are so many people who are still resistant against AI because number one, there's ecological impacts with its use of water, and number two, with how much it replaces different content creators like artists, for example, or it could probably be like teachers in the case of education sector. So there's a fear of AI replacing DE teachers or teachers in general, and there are people who prefers the traditional human-centered teaching, and that in itself is an obstacle in implementation of AI. Now, just to anchor on the last one, this one is in the bigger scale. I think this obstacle is very important to me and to a lot of people. Policy and regulatory gaps. According to Villarino 2025, there are no clear national AI education policies yet, and institutions are still unsure how to regulate AI use. I guess the only way for us to know how much we should embrace AI and which parts of AI we should celebrate and use is through policies, like a group of people reviewing and criticizing the roles of AI and its evolution and how much of it can actually teach students, not take away from students. I think the education sector has to set up a particular groundwork so for all teachers to possibly, like stand on. Because for me, based from the last obstacle, this is what truly matters: pedagogical and curriculum integration challenges. The policies should be all about this. Now, according to Rasul et al. 2023, AI can struggle to teach critical thinking and creativity because students can be dependent on AI, and there can be misalignment with local curriculum standards. I think AI, if it's applied in education, should teach students, not take away skills and content from students. I think that's one of the best thing that we should remember. If I apply AI, can this teach the student, or can this take away a certain skill set that I want the students to get? And from the last obstacle, the policy should center around this certain thing as well. And it's very difficult for us to know because it's very new to us. That's a clear obstacle. When we implement AI, is it for the sake of novelty, or is it for the sake of pedagogy, really? That's the question. And like DE leaders should think about that. And it boils down to this one, the last obstacle: academic integrity and ethical misuse. According to Villier in 2025, there's a rise in AI-assisted cheating and plagiarism, and AI overuse can actually weaken students' independent thinking. Surprise, surprise. This is not a surprise because this we can see all around us. It's easy already for us to let GPT or another AI generate something, and we can copy it verbatimly. And I guess this is such a big obstacle for us, because in the principles of assessment, it challenges everything, the integrity, validity of it, the reliability. And so that's why we, as the leaders, we need to find a way to prevent this one if we implement AI in our institutions. And if we imagine our facilitators in our different courses, there are different AI protocols already kept in place, and I guess that's a good start. I guess generally, for distance education leaders to fully embrace genuine AI innovation, there are just three things to need to be considered so that we can actually implement it in the DE system. One, equity. Two, training. And three, ethical concerns. So these three things actually summarizes all the obstacle. If these three things are met with AI used, well, I guess that obstacle is being worked on. And because rather than that, AI, other than that, AI can really enhance learning, um, you know, um, because it becomes a friend. But if we don't, work on these obstacles, it can deepen existing gaps. And these are my two issues for this topic. Number one, schools require students to learn how AI work before they are allowed to use it for learning? Why or why not? And second, if you were a teacher, how would you integrate AI in your DE class without making students too dependent on it? That's all for me. Thank you so much. Bye.